Angel by the Wings, Sia. It's hard to say what the cause was for my isolation, because I really don't think there was a cause. It was more of a coded blueprint lying within my subconscious. When vectors were hit, I would retreat, deep within myself, the self you call a hermit. In hindsight, the subtle shifts are easily identified, from the outgoing, adventurous me to the recluse you see. But you were too young to see those shifts. Sometimes I try to show you, prove to you I used to be someone else. Like, remember when we used to drive to Seattle and do aerial acrobatics together? Most times I accept your perception of me, the solitary soul. You sent the invitation via text. Do you want to get breakfast before we leave? I quickly checked my schedule. Who and what would I need to cancel to accommodate this invite? One I imagine you considered before sending, given my aversion to eating out at restaurants. Hermits don't particularly like crowds, especially on a Sunday, during brunch at our local and only cafe. A blank schedule, sort of. My first and only commitment was later in the afternoon when I agreed to meet up with our previous hairstylist, who was going through some heavy stuff, seeking guidance. Plenty of time for breakfast. Yes, let's do that, accompanied by a deep red heart emoji. I heard you descend the stairs and gently push open the door to my morning room, where you knew I would be, where I am almost every morning, with a fire blazing, latte on the coffee table, and my journal in hand. Hermits are very consistent. I like to call my constancy rituals. Do you like my outfit? I looked at your flared gray leggings topped with a black bell sleeve top setting off the shoulder. Your fit stomach, toned from rowing, adorned with a belly button ring, playing peekaboo from the gap between the waistband and the crop top. I do. You look gorgeous. I remember when I had a fit stomach, back when I rode and did aerial acrobatics. I even had a belly button ring to emphasize the gap between my waistband and crop tops before I was a hermit. You went to your keyboard just behind my sofa and started to play. I wish I could read sheet music better. The song moved effortlessly through the room, causing my head to spin and see you were reading the sheet music perfectly. Better than what? We both laughed as I rose to move upstairs to attempt to look something other than a hermit for our breakfast. On my way out of the room, music filling the air, I said, "Yesterday I found a pink journal that I wrote when you were born. I kept entries for some time. Do you want me to bring it to breakfast so I can read it to you?" "Yes." "I'm sorry, but for two, it will be about 30 to 35 minutes. Our hostess was sorry? That was not much of a wait on a Sunday during peak breakfast hours. "That's fine." "Can I get your name and number?" She looked at me because I am the mom, although I can't assume that's what she saw. Often, when greeted by a hostess, we're asked if we'd like to sit at the bar. I used to encourage you to smile to show your braces, but those have been off for many months. Now I say, "She's 15. That's what your birth certificate shows, even though your physical presence does not. I turned to you. You knew the drill. Hermits don't give their names or numbers out. You step forward, fulfilling the request. We were lucky to find an empty bench to cozy up together. Do you want me to start reading the journal while we wait? "Yes." I opened the pink cover, which was decorated with thick black scribbly pen marks. Your art. July 22nd, 2009. My sweet baby girl. Oh, how I wanted a girl. One of each. I remembered at 20 weeks, Dr. Case asked if I wanted to know the gender. "Yes," he responded. "I'm 80% sure it's a girl." And what a sweet baby you are. You smiled at me for the first time 3 months ago when you were 3 months old, your eyes so bright and shiny. The pregnancy was easy. Surprisingly, post-delivery was the most difficult. In the postpartum room, the nurse gave me Benadryl to address the side effects from the spinal block given for the C-section. When she put the needle into my IV, I couldn't breathe. My lungs felt like they were closing. I gasped for air and I shot straight up in the bed. Daddy was holding you, sitting right across from me. The thought flashed through my mind, this would be my final moment. Seeing my sweet baby girl held by her dada, and I never got to hold you. Then I collapsed on the bed, fading out, hearing some code being called. They were able to revive me. I don't know how, it was a blur. I just remember hearing them say I was bleeding from my incision because when I shot up I busted the stitches. But it all turned out okay because all this brought such great joy into my life. You. The page continued more of your artwork, scribbles and symbols that looked like A's. Ava, your table is ready. Time flew by from our intimate conversation on the bench. We were transported into our world, yanked back to this dining reality by your name. We settled across from each other in the booth, ordered our food, then you moved next to me to our intimate positions for the transportation back to our world. December 21st, 2009. You are taking your first steps. You are so proud of it too. You start to clap after you complete your short stint. Me and Daddy applaud with glee, and your brother says he wants to do it too. You have the cutest crawl and everyone comments on it. You wiggle your butt side to side like a hula dancer. I put tutus on you to accentuate the movement. You have such a sweet disposition. You're not grumpy or weepy, but you are a screamer when there is something you don't like. You are expressive in that way. The other day we were driving home, and as usual, you were very unhappy in your car seat. You hate being strapped in. You were screaming at equal intervals. Screech, pause. Screech, pause. Screech, pause. Sebastian sang to try to soothe you, but you were inconsolable. He plugged his ears. It just made me laugh. It was so well thought out. Our food showed up. I'm going to move to the other side to eat. It will annoy me to hear you chewing. We didn't need our world to come crashing down on us because I was eating too close to your ear. I placed the pink silk ribbon on the last page we read so we could continue another time. Mom, I'm so glad you wrote this stuff down. Hermits do that. We call it a ritual. We ate our breakfast mostly unaware of the world around us. Only the occasional, is everything okay? Interruption from our server, but never disruptive that it ruptured our realm. After I dropped you off at your dad's in Seattle, I drove home in a daze. I'm so in love with you. It was hard to leave you in your expanded world far, far away from our world in Sammamish with one little breakfast cafe where the locals go on Sunday. My heart reached behind me, looking for you, wanting to stay with you, but wanting to give you the space to fly. I pulled the car into the garage, closing the door, and reached into the back seat, grabbing the journal. That's when I saw it. Under all the black scribbles you decorated so many years ago, before you could write, before braces, before you had a mobile phone, before Snapchat, before Instagram, and before a boyfriend, were 4 white capital letters. L-O-V-E. How did I miss that? How had I not seen this before? Under my baby's language was love. I held the journal to my chest as I walked into the house, up the stairs, and tucked it back into my nightstand drawer, knowing another day would come when it would come out. Even though you tend to extend beyond my reach, outside the parameters of the safety net, there is still backup, a nest to return, the solace from the strain, because my love for you does not expire. I am a hermit who is renewed through my daily rituals, regenerated through space, rehabilitated by peace, and sustained through grace.